Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody's super excited to be here with you this evening. I'm going to absolutely blow your mind. And yeah, if you want to know what a lumberjack's hair looks like air dried, this is it. Getting ready for my winter chop, which always happens just before Thanksgiving. Because then, it can still make for Christmas pictures with the fam and kids come Christmas time. So it's the last chop that I get until usually about June the following year. So excited to go in for the lopping of the locks, but super excited to be here with you guys. Wayne Wong is ready to go, making the magic happen first in the chat. Good to see you, Wayne. But I'm excited to bring this to you guys tonight because I think that it's more important than it's ever been. Do you chop down your own trees? Yes, I do. Actually, I chopped one down and I had to bring a machine in for the other three. They were too big. So yeah, I can chop down a tree. That's not a big deal. We can do lots of stuff here in New Hampshire. But the thing that I want to kind of bring to you guys this evening is something that is getting worse and worse in the industry. What I find is, you guys know me, like I can't do liars. I can't do people that mislead people. I can't, there's so many things like about the business that make me cringe. And I love blowing up cottage industries, right? So, we get our good buddy Dion from Dion Talk Financial Freedom. He loves to blow up LLCs. Get it. I totally agree with him. We don't have an LLC for our real estate investment. We actually have trust. That's how we design it. That's how we build it. That's how we manage it. That's how we insure it. That's the most important thing. But hey there, Ned Talks. Good to see you, buddy. And good to see everybody else in the chat too. But Ned usually can't make it. He's very busy. So I understand that. So Ned, good to see you, buddy. But the thing that I want to blow up for you guys tonight, and the thing that I want to really caution you guys about is, as you know, we've got some single families for sale. And as I've talked about on the channel, we've gone through these houses thoroughly. So what we do is, when we first get the home, we build we go through the home and we build our sheet of, here are the things that we want to make sure that we're addressing. Here are the things we want to make sure that we're doing. So we go through that process. We create the plan, we buy materials, get the subs lined up, and then we start going to town. All good so far, right? It's a great process. So we have our budget form, we get our subs in. We go through everything. We go through everything mechanically. Now, if we didn't do it for inspection, usually we did, but if we didn't do it for inspection, we certainly do it at this point, because the things that we want to make sure that we're doing is, before we're making this massive investment in the property, we want to know if there's any big time gotchas. We want to get up into the attic and make sure that there's ample insulation. We want to get up there and make sure that there's no appearances of leaks. We want to make sure that we're checking out the heating system. We're checking out the sewer line. I know you guys have checked sewer lines before and it saved you $8,000 to $10,000. Guys, it's a $250 scan. You got to be doing that stuff. So we go through all of the big stuff in the house, right? So we always talk about it. We always talk about roofs. We always talk about heating systems. We always talk about sewage or septic systems, or your main drain lines that come out of the building. We look at what are the other most expensive things in a house. Kitchen, but you can see that with your eyes without a whole lot of inspection. And then electrical. So we go through all of that stuff to make sure that, okay, yeah, we know what we need to do here to make it a much better property. We're always looking for that value add. So we know what we're looking for. So we go through that process and we tab the different things. Now, this isn't my opinion. We hire experts. We hire the people that we're used to working with. So we have, multiple heating companies. We have, and depending on what kind of system it is it a one pipe steam boiler? Is it a forced hot water system with full tall radiators? Is it a forced hot water system with little radiators? Is it a forced hot air system? Is it a mini split? Is it a geothermal system? What kind of system is it? And then we have experts that we plug in based on what we know their expertise to be, because they can literally, they're like these, futuristic guys that just walk in and go, yeah, the humidity is off about 4%. And so I know it's probably, this is what's going on with your system. And you're just like, that's why I hire you. you're that guy, right? So I'm the guy for the properties, but they're the guys, they're the guys for this stuff. Specifically, this is where they're elite. This is where, birds of a feather flock together. So we go in, we go through and walk through these parts of the buildings, and we go through this process. We have them basically go through absolutely everything, and when we're talking about heating systems, we're talking about, we have them look at chambers. We have them look at the burners that are on front of them. We have them look at, when we actually have them in, we actually have them clean everything, right? So it's about $350 to clean an oil-fed boiler, and a gas one might be a little bit less, might be $250 to $300, but we bring them in, we have them look at the system, and if we don't own it yet, we have them just there to take a look at it. And we pay them for an hour of their time to come show up and take a look at this. By the way, this is how I'm going to put all these jack wagons out of business. Watch this. So it'll take a couple minutes, but we'll get there. I promise. Enjoy the ride. So what we do is when we're going through these different things, they then come back to us and go, hey, listen, I see this in the system. I see this in the system. This looks like it might be an issue. The jacket, which is the metal surround that's on these different systems, or, the sight glass is full on like a one pipe steam system. But we have them go through them and really inspect them and here's where we're going to start the attack, kids. Largely speaking, the worst cottage industry around housing and transactions is the lion's share of fraudulent, unskilled clowns that went to some 5 or 10 day course for home inspection. You will never be so unimpressed when you know what you're talking about to talk to one of these bozos. They're absolute clowns, a majority of them. Not every single one. There are some good ones, but I can tell you the lion's share of them, morons. They have no idea what they're doing. On their best day, they might know as much as a landlord that's done this a few times. Most of them have no clue what they're talking about and only know the very narrow scope of things that they were told, hey, this is what it looks like. Right? That is a problem. That's a problem. Because what they're not understanding is that they don't understand that there's a massive transaction on the other side and that both parties are involved in that transaction. We're not trying to get one over on the person that's buying it, but we also don't want some lazy loser who's filling up the spreadsheet with follow up with an expert, follow up with an expert, follow up with an expert. Hey, jackass, I thought you were the expert. They're paying you $750, $950, $1,000 to show up and do your inspection. And the best you got, because you know so little, is follow up with an expert. That's the best you got. No specific notes as to here's exactly why you need to follow up with the inspector or a real tradesman. I love tradesmen. Most of my friends are tradesmen. So I can call up, and if you've been in my lumberjack landlord course, you see, we just pick up the phone and we call them. We've had roofers, we've had siders, we've had trust attorneys, we've had them all. And it's because my network is my net worth. But I can tell you, a lion's share of these guys are complete and utter buffoons. They might have been doing it for 5 or 10 years, but they wouldn't know the first thing about taking one of those things apart and putting it back together. Wouldn't you want somebody that's telling you that a system is bad, that they would know how to take it apart and put it back together? Wouldn't you want that? Now, I always like to bring receipts. I'm not a big talker guy where I'm sitting there and like, yeah, these guys are jerks and these guys are idiots. I'm not that guy unless I can prove that you are. So we were going down the path this week. We had an inspection on one of the properties. It's an okay deal. I don't mind doing the deal. It's fine. I might consider doing the deal. But I also might not, because quite frankly, we go through our normal process. So my guys, two of my guys that I trust very, very much, they manage all of our heat systems, which right now is about 90 of them, 90 or maybe 100 different heat systems. That's what their responsibility is, right? So we're teaching these guys, this is exactly how you do this. This is, and from a landlord to another landlord, hey, this is how you do this. And we have these experts involved. We trust them. We know their quality of their work. We know that when they look at a system, they'll say, you know what, here's some of the things I don't like about it. Here's some of the things that I do like about it. Or, you know what, this thing's on its last legs. Get in the budget now to start looking to replace these things. And then I have them take pictures. Yeah, the thing that everybody has nowadays and usually has a 97 billion megapixel camera on that can take great pictures. They can get good pictures of pretty much anything that they're calling an issue. So the concern is that we do this, right? So my guys have gone through it. They've said, yep, and so I basically get an individualistic report on all the different stuff. My roofer's been on the roof and on the siding. He looks at stuff. He looks at the fascia boards. He looks at the soffits. He looks to see, hey, do we have any sort of intrusions? Holes where pests can get in or vermin. Hate vermin. That's why the word vermin sounds so good, is because I hate them. But we're doing all of these things, right? So we know going into the project kind of what we're looking at as we're doing an inspection, or we say, hey, we're not doing inspections, but we're doing something informational purposes only, and that sort of stuff. You can tell one of the really quick tips, look at the furnace, see if it has a service tag on it. Legally, it's supposed to have a service tag on it. And you can see right on there, when was the last time it got serviced? Oh, shocker. If it was not serviced for the last 5 years and it's an oil system, you probably have a system that's going to need a little bit of work, because oil burns really dirty. It has a better flash point for efficiency more than gas does. However, it burns dirty. Burn dirty. So the issue that we have is that I got the report for this clown that calls himself an inspector. And sorry, that's the word, clown, bozo. I almost said a bad word. So I'm reading the report. The report is full of a bunch of noise, number one. It's just noise. It's just blather, 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 blather. Opinion. But too often this guy says, refer to an expert, refer to an expert, refer to an expert. So they come out of that inspector time. And when they come out of it, they basically have 7 follow-ups, seven follow-ups for the buyers to go follow up with. A foundation company, a heating company, an electrician, a plumber, what else do they have? Did I say chimney? Chimney person. What else did they have there? Was on that list. Oh, a structural person. Like, give me a break with this. The building's been there for 140 years. How dumb are you? Do you see any 3-inch slants from one side of the room to the other? Like, this just means you're a clown and you don't know what you're doing. And so now what is it? Now this buyer is afraid. They're afraid that they put in an offer on a house that's literally going to collapse on itself based on Doofus Boy's report. Okay, let's dig deeper. Because I'm like, okay, let's see what he calls. What does he call out as issues? What are these issues that he's calling out? Let's take a look. So the first thing is electrical. So we look at electrical and he says, very concerned, follow up with an expert. The panel is not grounded and it's not connected to it's not jumped to the water line, blah, blah, blah. And this is all National Electric Code, NEC, National Electric Code level stuff. Okay, so that's the first one. Now, I'm not sure. I'll go one by one, but I'll tell you the solution that I came up with and what we did after that. So what do I have to do? I give a quick call to my electrician. I said, hey, how's it going? He goes, good. I said, you did work at this house. I said, you also inspected the panel. I said, dude, did you miss that it's not grounded? He goes, what? I said, that it's bonded to one of the water lines. He goes, what? I said, seriously, is it grounded? Is it bonded to one of the water lines? He goes, oh, Matt, there's just no way that I missed that. He's like, I'm like 99.9% sure because I walked through, I did the whole inspection. He goes, I don't remember what it looks like. Obviously, I'm not unreasonable. The last time the guy looked at it was like 2 months ago. So I'm not sitting there unreasonable going, but you should remember. No, he looks at like 40 panels a week or 30 panels a week. So I'm not special. But he's like, hey, you know what I'll do? I said, listen, I said, the inspector raised it. I want to make sure it's not a real concern. Can you just work it into your schedule the next few days and take a look at it? He goes, yeah, sure. No problem. So he literally texts me back, network being my net worth, texts me back in 2 hours. I wasn't asking him to do it that fast, but he was heading from one job to another across town. And he's like, yep, I can stop by. Stops by. He sends me 5 pictures. He goes, I don't know who this moron inspector is, but I can tell you here, outside pipe, down through, jumped to the water line. He goes, this guy has no clue what he's doing, saying that it's not grounded and that it's unbonded. He goes, here's all the pictures that answer and show you the answer. He goes, the guy's a complete moron, complete idiot. So again, this is somebody that raised risk and concern based on what? That he didn't know what he was looking at? That he's that inept at what he's being paid to do that he didn't know what he was looking at? How do these guys get away with only taking a course? How do they not need, listen, I think the 5 years that it takes you to get a master license in plumbing, I think that that's ridiculous. I think 5 years is completely absurd. I really do. Same thing for electricians. I think that's completely absurd. But 5 to 10 days for home inspectors, 5 to 10 days, that's how long that course is. It's 5 to 10 days worth of classwork and testing, depending on which course you take. We have created a cottage industry of morons. A majority of them complete and total morons. They don't know their job. I can prove it in report after report after report after report, one after the other, after the other, after the other, time after time after time. And they blow up deals because they don't know what they're talking about. So literally, what if you don't have the network that I did? What if you haven't taken my course and you learned how to build a network like I built? What happens? What happens? You are dialing for dollars, trying to get an electrician at one point that did some work for you that you knew that could go take a look at it and prove that he was wrong. I'm in a unique position. I recognize that. I teach you how to do all these things. I teach you how to build a network like this that can get you in place, online, in front of somebody right away. This is a massive, massive win if you can do things and answer them that quickly. But here's the risk for me. So that was the first one. Now the deal is at risk because it wasn't 1 or 2 things. It was 5 or 6 things. It was 7 things total. I think it was 5 different trades. So first thing, electrician, boom, check. We got that one done. Electrician, checked. We're done. Okay, now we're going to go on to the heating system. The inspector says, well, the heating system is kind of old. And so, I would think that you probably need a replacement. What? Are you trying to tell me that a 20-year-old heating system is too old? Because I can tell you, I have systems running in some of my buildings that are 40 years old. So you're wrong. What the most important thing that you have for these systems is a maintenance schedule. I teach you guys this in the course all the time. It's about maintaining the asset that you have, getting the absolute most time out of it as you possibly can. That way you're not replacing it prematurely. I always like to joke around. I get 8 years and 6 months out of an 8-year water heater. It's a joke, obviously, because I'd like it to last 10 or 12 years. We certainly do those. When it comes to maintenance, we do the best that we can with a water heater, but largely they're pretty much, for the most part, a lot of them are enclosed. A lot of them are enclosed systems. And what I mean by that is there's not a whole lot on the lesser expensive systems that it makes sense to spend a bunch of money on a repair on before you just swap the thing out. So we've continued down the path, and this is a comment that he makes on the boiler. And then he's like, so I would reach out to a company. What does this company with basically no integrity do? They come in and they go, this is what it would cost. They just take measurements. Like they're being given carte blanche. They just take measurements and they're like, yeah, it's going to be about $20,000 to change out your system. What the hell is going on? I had my guy look at it and he goes, yeah, no, it's in good shape. I was like, cool. I was like, what would you give it for life expense? He goes, you know how that goes. I said, yeah, sure. I said, but he goes, listen, it's been pretty well taken care of. I don't see any real signs of wear and tear. The thing's about 20 years old, but it's in good shape. And he goes, I wouldn't be shocked if, just a yearly cleaning. He goes, I wouldn't be shocked if you get 10 more years out of the thing. He goes, you could get more. And he goes, but at that point, you're really starting to stretch it. And he goes, but yeah, you're probably looking at, 8, 10 years, maybe 12. And he goes, but again, that's just taking care of it with normal annual cleanings and annual maintenance. All right. So in my eyes, is that a system that needs replacing? Are we in the habit? Is anybody in the habit of going, yeah, the car probably has a good 8 or 10 years left to it. But clearly you need to replace it right now. No, there's a difference. With a car, you're getting a trade-in, you're able to sell it, you're able to do something. With a boiler, this is a use item that basically goes away. So these are the crazy things that we're looking at. So this is the second thing. So I get the report from my guy. My guy says, Matt, that's just not the case. I don't know what he's looking at. So we're like asking, what did he use to determine that? Well, the age. Really? Doesn't the way that the asset's been used matter? Doesn't the way that it's been cared for matter? There's so much of this stuff out there. And this is the thing that blows my mind. So that's the second thing. But now, again, a big, huge, massive expense. The third thing is the foundation. Not kidding. The foundation. He's attacking the foundation of a 140-year-old house. Dude, you're out of your depth, bro. It's not a concrete foundation that you learned about in class. They might have covered stone foundations for 19 minutes in your entire class. To be very clear, in the Northeast and in many of the cold spots of the country, certainly where our country started, and because New Hampshire is called the Granite State, because we're called that, you actually have these stone foundations, and they're big, huge blocks of stone. They would take them from the field. They'd take them from the quarries, and they would bring them in and they'd make up nice big stone, really, really solid block rock foundations. Now, the downside to those is that you sometimes will get some water intrusion, because it's not a big, huge slab of concrete. You can get some cold air into some of those. All expected, all things that they saw when they first when they were first put in the offer on the house. It's not a brand new house with a brand new foundation. It's a 140-year-old house with a block foundation, with a stone block foundation. They actually cite it as being a risk to the health of the house. Guys, I've been doing this for 23 years. I've seen 1 or 2 of those foundations ever that had an issue, and they're fixable. They're not unfixable. They are very fixable. And there's a number of ways to fix them. I can tell you this foundation does not have any of those issues. It has minimal water intrusion. And that's when we get absolutely doused with rain after snow melt, because you have, 2-3 feet of rain, 2-3 feet of snow. Sometimes you get melt and you get rain. Well, guess what? The ground reaches a saturation level where it can't absorb the water anymore. And so water will always find its easiest path. And a lot of times it's in the stone foundations. Again, not a problem, but almost every stone foundation in New England, is going to have pallets in the basement that you put your stuff on because you don't want it directly on the floor. It's a given. It's guaranteed. This moron cites that as a problem. Yeah, I called you a moron again because you're stupid. You're bad at what you do. And that's a problem because the next thing, so now we've covered electrical, now we've covered plumbing or heat. Now we've covered foundation. Now we're going to talk about the chimney. They say, oh, well, the chimney has a problem. What is that? It hasn't been cleaned. Okay. Sounds good. We'll clean the chimney. They want to use this express service, blah, 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 $2,000. No. A chimney cleaning is $350. No, we're not spending $2,000. And at the end of the day, they're like, well, we might want to have the thing lined. Yeah, then you can pay to have it lined. You're more than welcome to it. A lot of old chimneys that are made out of brick and limestone, what they do is that limestone, the moisture, that is actually what, and then the moisture and the heat going through the chimney, it's really, really hot air because it's coming off your heating system, and then escapes and then heats up, cools down, heats up and cools down. And so the bricks inside, this is how well these masons from the 1800s made this stuff. Hey guys, it's lasted 140 years. It had fireplaces in it, and now it has heating systems in it. So, okay, he's like, well, yeah, you're going to have to make sure to get that inspected. Bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're literally walking through and go, I would have the electrical inspected by an expert. I would have the heating system inspected by an expert. I would have the chimney inspected by an expert. Because what am I? I'm just a useless poser that's taking $1,000 of your money and I don't really know anything. Guys, this is why I teach in the course. Don't use inspectors. Do not. Have relationships with plumbers, electricians, other people in the crafts, maybe a structural technology, maybe a structural construction guy. Have them come in and do, hey, I just need you for an hour. Can you come in for an hour? Would that be cool? And the only thing I'm going to ask you to do after the hour is just give me a page of notes. Whatever you find, good, bad, or indifferent, just give me a page of notes. Guys, that's what I do. That's what I do. And I do it because that's what's best for me. That's what actually protects me. Not this poser inspector. So we went through all of that. Then we went through plumbing. He's like, yeah, I don't really like, this style of shutoff valve. Dude, who cares? No one cares what you feel. Like, you don't know anything you're talking about. You just don't know. Stop talking. And then lastly, there were some things that made sense. There were some things that there was a pillar that comes down to from the basement stairs to the kitchen basement floor. And that basement floor is a little bit that basement floor obviously gets wet. And so that pillar is a little bit punky at the bottom. No problem. We'll rip it, put on a block underneath it, and boom, you're good. Not a big deal. It's an easy fix. And then lastly, this is the one that also bothered me, asbestos. In the Northeast, almost every single heating system, if it's one pipe steam or older systems or older configurations, they have asbestos. And asbestos is expensive to get rid of. Now, it's one of those things where it only matters if you hit it, whack it, knock it, and create a bunch of dust around it. That's the only thing that matters. If it's sitting there, it doesn't hurt anybody. It only matters when the fibers get airborne. Now, one would argue that it depends on how much gets airborne, blah, 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 but it's around all of these basements. One pipe steam systems almost all have asbestos. Many of the other systems made from the day have asbestos. Many of them will have asbestos sheets above the heating systems that actually protect the wood from catching fire if that system were to ever catch on fire. So he cites the asbestos being an issue. Guys, it's wrapped. One of the things that they used to do when they found out that asbestos was a bad thing in the 70s was they would have people go through and they would just wrap it in plastic, because the idea was not that you use it as more insulation, but to use it as keeping any of the dust and fibrous material out of the air so you don't breathe it in. But again, not an issue. You're not living in your basement. You're not constantly doing construction or work in your basement. This is a New England basement. It's not going to get finished. And the house is already like, well over 2,000 square feet. You don't need the extra space. You know, it's a typical New England basement. You keep your washer, your dryer down there, and you actually keep, some pallets down there for storage stuff for winter clothes and summer clothes when you swap your stuff in and you swap your stuff out. This is what it's there. This is what it's meant for. So those are the sections that this guy went after like a dog with a bone. Completely inept, doesn't know what he's talking about. Concerns the homeowner or concerns the whole buyer. So where are we now? We're now at a place where they come back and they want a $20,000 credit. Not doing it. Don't need to. I believe in the product. I believe in the property. I know that we went through the entire thing, and I know that they're just complete clowns. They hired the wrong guy. They don't know anything they're talking about. And instead of doing any research on their own, because they're also partially to blame, we can't just let them off the hook and go, well, they just hired a bad inspector. Ask questions. I have a silly question. Hey, do you get floods in the basement? Nope. Nope. Any problems with the house? Nope. Not with the basement at all. What problems have you had with the house? We had to fill out 5 pages of disclosures. We had no problems with the house. We completely remodeled it. The plumbing is new. The heat system, we had thoroughly checked out, gone through and cleaned. Good for another decade. I'm not replacing that 10 years early for you. Ain't going to happen. So what I would encourage you to do, if you've taken my course, if you've not taken my course, what I would encourage you to do is you hire experts in the field to do your inspection when you're buying something. Stop hiring these doofus inspectors that aren't very good at what they do. They aren't. A majority of them are complete and utter buffoons. And if they go, oh, I've been an inspector for 8 years. I don't care. What have you actually done? What have you done? Have you ever wired a panel? Have you ever grounded a panel? Have you ever installed a heating system? Have you ever changed out a burner? Have you ever put in a chimney liner? Have you ever installed a roof? Have you ever done these things? And if you haven't, then you should not be in the job that you're in, because you know enough to be dangerous and scare people from buying something that there is zero doubt in my mind. Anybody who buys this house will be ecstatic. I know we went through it. Everything's been done. The panel's in great shape. The heat system's in great shape. Everything is ready to go for the next decade, issue free, with just simple maintenance. They get a brand new kitchen, brand new floors, a lot of brand new windows. That's just what makes this silly. So those are the things that I wanted to make sure to cover with you guys tonight. I know that's longer than normal, but again, it was important to me to share this with you guys because I want to put this cottage industry out of business. And I want to do it by getting more people in the trades, doing the work, and creating lives for their families, being able to have a family and buy a house, do all of these things. The trades is a great way to provide for your family, and you're providing a service to your local community. So I hope more people get into the trades. I hope no more people get into this stupid cottage industry because, like I said, a very high number of them are completely inept morons that have no idea what they're doing. But anyway, I digress. That is the inspector rant, as Chris Culp just called it. Let's see. So Wayne Wong, hey, how are you? Wealth Building Journey, Chester, good to see you. Matt Bittner, do I chop down my own trees? Yes, I have. Jason Calasabetta, good to see you. Hyder, hey buddy, how you doing? Good to see you, pal. Good evening, Mrs. Lumberjack. I am Mr. Lumberjack, and I identify as such. Farinelli, how's it going, sir? Hatless Lumberjack. Yeah, I got out of the shower and this is air drying. Now I think it's air dried, but yeah, this is air dried. It was kid shower night. We've got a big, huge shower thing that we have. So get all the kids in there and then get them all out of there dried. And while they're getting into jammies and brushing teeth and all that stuff, I finish up and finish my shower. Since I'm already soaking wet to the bone with shirt and such. Buzztune, how are you? Ned Talks, good to see you, pal. R. Freeman, hey everyone, good to see you. Common Sense REI, Evening Misfits. Love that. Channel 16 Deal, greetings all, greetings. Look up. Hey, good to see you. Look up. Chris Cope. We are like the land of misfit toys. I mean, land of misfit investors. Yes, that's a good thing. Hey, 41 people on this live stream are going to be richer in a year. Just saying. Just saying, if you want to put me in a room where 41 of the people, where all 100% of the people that are in the room, put me in a room where they're all going to be richer in a year, because that's what I believe about this room. Jason Calasmino, looking at a brick 3 flat tomorrow. It has some stair cracks on the upper floor bricks that actually cracked through the windowsill. I know it's because the foundation was an issue. What should I be on the lookout for? Thank you. I mean, the grout and the bricks is separating, looking like stairs. I have pics, but doesn't help here. Sure. So what I would do is when you're looking at that 3 brick flat tomorrow, I would be going and I'd be taking a bunch of pictures, take more pictures. But like I said, when you're going out to a property, if you don't know what you're looking at, bring somebody that knows what they're looking at. Not somebody that's taken a 5-day course or been a house inspector for a few years. Take a trade. So when I know that there's a brick issue, I call the 2 or 3 masons that we work with. I give them a buzz and I'm just like, hey, can I get you to come out for just an hour? Because if I buy the house, obviously I'm going to let you quote the job. So I just want you to come out and take a look at it and kind of give me a free estimate. It works every single time. And here's the thing. If they didn't get some of those jobs, they wouldn't come to the next job. They wouldn't come to view the thing the next time. That's how you build a network. So I would have so as you're looking at it, I would have a mason come out and check it out. And when you do have the mason come out and check it out, he will be able to then, or she will be able to then, usually it's a guy, but they will be able to then give you a price saying, hey, based on what I'm seeing here, it could be as little as $3,000. It could be as much as $7,000. I just got to kind of figure out what I'm looking at. But as I start to take stone out, because again, they could look down in the basement and they could go, oh yeah, here's what the actual problem is. Or, hey, you had a brick collapse. And so now everything's kind of collapsing around that brick and you start to see the limestone get jagged and broken. And then you start to see other stuff get loose. They can do something called repointing that, where they basically take out all the bricks that are loose. They get any of the mortar off of them that they need to, and then they reinsert the bricks and remortar the bricks in, and everything is good again. So those are all options. But the only way that you can find and get to that step, again, the only way you're going to get to that step is you invite somebody that has that expertise. And it can be a mason, it can be whatever it is. And you tell them honestly, hey, listen, I'm looking at potentially buying this house. But my couple of concerns, one is this and one is something else. I'm going to have those other guys come. So if you look at the heating system, you're like, okay, it's 20 years old. I'm not saying that the inspector shouldn't look at my system because it's 20 years old and he should just know it's going to last. I'm saying, of course, look at the system. But if you're going to point to something that's saying it need to be replaced, you better be right. Because so far you were wrong about every other thing in the report, dummy. So Jason, that's what I would do. I would make sure that when you're going to take a look at the place, take a bunch of pictures, and then you can send it on to a mason and say, hey, listen, we'd love to have you come out and take a look at this because I'm getting more serious about the house. This is something I'm likely going to buy. And I need to get a quote on what this is going to take to fix this because that's obviously going to impact what I'm going to be able to pay for the house. That's what I would do. Channel 60 Andio, my septic inspection revealed pressure pump failed. Love it. Seller said he was not going to pay. I said, great, no deal. Fix it and I'll buy. Don't fix it, I'll walk. He is paying for the fix. Ta-da. So, and that's you negotiated that perfectly. That is something that has failed. Failed doesn't mean it might go someday and I think it might be when. It means it's failed. It means it doesn't work. It means it's not operational. It doesn't work. Fix it. That's an absolute thing. Anything that we see or find in our report that is broken, guys, we don't get to reports where stuff's broken. We don't. We've already taken care of it. We've already fixed it. We've already gotten a report on the system. We've already taken care of it. It's not even a thing. But in your case, Channel 6, you did exactly the right thing. Josh Burdick, I got a call from you. Yes. Anybody that signed up for the special series of how to bulletproof your portfolio, anybody that signed up for that is, I said it in a couple of our live streams, anybody that signed up for that, because we were delivering it for free, we just wanted feedback. So I actually hired a company to make those calls, reach out to everybody and say, hey, what was really helpful? What wasn't really helpful? What are the types of events you'd like to see in the future? We want to know where you want us to spend that time, but I don't have the time to do that. Don't have the time to do that. So I care what you think. I care what you want to know. I care how good what we're putting out there is. But it made sense for me to hire somebody to do that, where they could call you. They could also text you. And they could just say, hey, we just like some of that feedback. And then they can put it all into a spreadsheet. And then we can review all of that stuff and understand, hey, this is what's going to mean most to the community moving forward. So the funny thing is it's for me, but it's really for you, because the only thing that I care about is what you felt about what we covered. Did it make sense? Was it helpful to you? And what else would you like to learn? So it's really for you. So I'm glad that you did get a call. More people will be getting calls. And I'm paying for that service to have that happen, because that's what we want to understand. We're not doing this whole, Russell Brunson, build a funnel, blah, 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 blah. We're not doing all of that stuff. We're not doing that, to sell a bunch more courses. We really want to understand what is important to you. What do you need to know? We'll continue to augment the course. I actually have a new section going in the course. We've got the lead section that's almost done, and we've got the section 8 section that's going to be done, because there's going to be a bunch of stuff in there with how to manage section 8, especially with a lot of people seeing FMR go down. Ivan Zuniga, laughy face. I appreciate that, I think. Look up shysters. Yeah, gives me the curse face too. I have no tolerance for people like that. Just no tolerance. You're a parasite on the business, and you don't actually fix anything. And any problem that you found, you have no idea the ramifications of that problem. I literally had somebody saying, yep, the boiler's failed. Really? What's failed about it? The box inside collapsed. Yeah. So that's called a combustion chamber. Uh-huh. And a combustion chamber doesn't mean that a boiler's failed. It actually means that you need to replace the combustion chamber. And yeah, they're about 4 hours of labor, and they're about a $300 or $400 part, depending on the system you have. So while it might be a $1,000 repair max, here's what I can tell you. It doesn't mean the boiler failed, you moron. Be good at your job. Be better at your job. Know what you're talking about before you open your mouth. Kadia. I think it's Kadia. Kadia 14. Oh, no. I'm about to hire an inspector. How do you choose a good one? I just think that majority of them are garbage. The thing that I want to know from an inspector is what their background is. That's what I want to know. I don't want to know, I was in accounting before I became an inspector. No, thank you. No, thank you. Were you in construction? Were you in the trades? Were you a plumber? Were you a heating system guy? Were you an electrician? Did you own a construction company? These are the things that I care more about. I want people from the trades to be my inspectors. That's who I want. But that's why I don't hire one inspector. I call a bunch of guys, good reputations, and say, hey, I'm buying a house. Instead of hiring an inspector, I'd like to hire you for an hour to specifically look at the plumbing, to specifically look at the heating system, to specifically look at the electrical panel, to specifically look at the roof because you're in construction. Guys, it's going to cost you less money than an inspector, and it's actually going to be people with credibility that know what they're talking about. That's why the industry needs to be blown up. Too many people know so little about houses and how they work and what the system inside the house is. So many people know so little about it that they get told something by an inspector, and that's all of a sudden gospel. And it shouldn't be gospel, because they're largely wrong. They're largely wrong. So this is what creates the problem. So infuriating. Yeah, and I'm pissed. I'm not a YouTuber that gets fake angry. I'm actually pissed because these people love the house, and now they think they're buying some shitbox. They're not. They just had a really stupid, bad inspector that doesn't know what he's doing. And the problem is that I've proven on 3 of the things that he rose as, that he let rise as issues, or that he called out as issues. I proved that he was wrong by the experts. But do you think that their plumbing and heating company that came in there, do you think that heating company had any integrity whatsoever and said, so we're looking at the system, but we don't think that you need one. Like, you probably got plenty of leg left in this one. We'd love to be your service company. We'd love to service it for you, but we're not really concerned about the longevity of the system. You got a number of years left. Just regularly maintain it. That would have been integrity. That would have been honesty. And there's plenty of businesses out there that aren't that. Have you talked to other investors in your market about which inspectors they choose to work with? Yeah, that's a good tip, wealth building journey. I just think that my way of doing it is a much cleaner, better way. And you're getting an actual expert's opinion, not some poser's opinion. Because I have never, ever, ever met an inspector that, well, that's not true. I had one inspector that knew everything, but it's because he spent the first 20 years of his career in construction. 20 years. And he built houses. He was a GC for houses. He had plumbers working for him. He had electricians working for him. He did it all. And you know what happened? Got hurt. And he said, you know what? I just need something that's a whole lot slower pace. So I'm ready to give that stuff up. And that's and he became an inspector, and he was a spectacular inspector. He's like, yep, you should do this. And structurally it looks good. Old block foundation. I would do this, this, and this. He was awesome. I still save his reports. They're fantastic. His reports are awesome, and we've hit a lot of those issues in those places because we could count on it. We knew he knew what he was talking about. It wasn't these like modern day posers that are 5 days in school or 10 days in school and I have a certification now. Congratulations. Useless. Doesn't matter. So little. It's not even funny. Let's see. Farinelli, on that note, looked at the ordinances. Parking space is 1 per unit, but they want 0.23 acres per unit in some cases. Not mine, 0.91 acres per unit. None of the multifamily in the area comply with this. Okay. Parking spaces defined by the ordinance are slightly bigger than the state, but still not a problem. Good. Kadia, wealth building journey. In a way, I have 2 recommendations from my realtor and some from my REIA. Realtors are useless unless, again, they have a background in actual construction and know what the other person knows. They're just like, oh no, Chuck seems like a real good guy. He's easy to work with. He's reasonably priced and he's going to turn that report around in time. That's not what I care about. I want to know that you know what you're talking about before you open up your mouth and you charge me $1,000. I want to know that you know what you're looking at. I don't care if you get the report done a day early. I don't care if you're really nice to my realtor. I don't care. That's not what you're there for. Substance, not form. I need substance. I need to know these things so I know where I might be staring down the barrel of a $5,000 or $10,000 drop of money. That's what I need to know. And that's why I don't trust realtors with these recommendations. Is because they don't know. They don't know the first thing about actual inspection and if the guy's actually good. They have no clue. I haven't interviewed them yet, but now I'm nervous despite recommendations. I don't disagree. I'm telling you, call subs, call contractors, people that do this work. Call a plumbing company and call a bunch of plumbing companies and say, hi, I'm actually buying a house. And what I'm looking for is for you to come and do a walkthrough with me and just look at the house and then let me know what you think needs to be addressed, because obviously you're going to be my first choice for somebody that would then take care of the work that needs to be done. But then they can explain it to you and then they can put it in a quote to you. Because you know what the inspector dummy does? Go talk to an expert. We're taking the idiot out of the middle. You're already going to talk to the expert. That expert's already going to give you a quote. You completely bypass them in the process. Why? Because they've proven to be not valuable. If all you're going to do is point to the expert and say, just that you're going to have to ask the expert because I don't know, then why do I need you? I'm just going to go right to the expert. That's what gave me the great idea. I got a report and all it said was refer to an expert, refer to an expert, refer to an expert. Okay, then why am I paying you $1,000 to tell me to go refer to an expert? Okay, pass. I'm going to get the experts in. And like I said, the plumber might be $150. The electrician might be $150. But the construction guy, he'll probably do it for free. Probably they'll do it for free. You know, a mason, have them come out, say, hey, I want to just check out, see if I'm happy to pay you for an hour of your time. Let me know what you think that's going to cost. You piece together a team of experts like I do, and you're not going to get the follow up with a team of experts and spend $1,000 for that. It's going to be cheaper. My way's cheaper, and it's far better, and it shortcuts the process. Look up. It's hard to be humble around the intellectually ignorant. So, dude. Yeah, agreed. Hyder. It can take decades of daily exposure for asbestos before it can become a problem. That's true. And when people automatically equate asbestos and pipe wrap to, and the asbestos fell like snow. And my guy was in that for 20 years straight. And now he has mesothelioma. That's not to make fun of the people with mesothelioma. That's to make fun of the ambulance chasers that think that this little wrap on one piece of on piping is going to put you in the same class as a guy who worked at a Navy yard with no mask on for 25 or 30 years. Guys, that just, do you need it spelled out for you? Like, come on, that's just silliness. It's not intellectually honest. And that's the huge problem I have with it. Hey, Dave. Thanks for showing, Dave. It's always good to have you, Dave. I see asbestos and lead as mostly a scare tactic or overly cautious at best. I don't disagree. Completely agree, actually. Inspector Rant today. Love it. They are generally useless. Chris Culp. Nail on the head. Boom. A&H, I agree. Yep, true story. HOA Prez. An expert is a person, as a person is someone who doesn't learn anything new because he is no longer an expert. It's true. I mean, I get what you're saying. I think that you always can learn something new, but there is the 90 or 95% rule where every single thing you see fits into these buckets. And then there's a few exceptions to those buckets. So yeah, I certainly see that. Guys, give me just one quick second. I just want to make sure. Perfect. Cool. Have an appointment tomorrow? Just making sure. Jennifer Stewart, appreciate the insights on inspectors tonight. My pleasure, Jennifer. Jennifer is a rock star in the virtual assistant world. She's absolutely fantastic. Love working with her. Brilliant. Brilliant. Let's see. Inspectors must have integrity. Integrity is in serious decline, in my opinion. Integrity is in serious decline. They must have integrity, but skill up a little bit. Like skill up. Like have some. That's just not integrity. That's honor. I have zero problems charging people money for my course because I know it will make them better investors, and they will make more money, and they will make far more money than what my course costs. That's why I have zero concern over it. Somebody asked me to do consulting on a mobile home park. Not your guy. Can't do it. Can do it, but won't do it. Won't do it because I'm not an expert. Not an expert. Nope, won't do it. There you go. Chris Culp, Chia Pet Lumberjack. I know, right? The flowing locks. I can't help it. Where's Dan when you need him, right? Dan, eat your heart out, buddy. Look up. True. And there's nobody being held to the standard of fiduciary responsibility duties. This is the bigger issue that I have. Look up. You're exactly right. They say all the things that they say so they can't get sued. but they're not actually delivering a good product to the customer. Posers. Yes. I submitted an offer on a property. Ivan Zaniga. Hi, Ivan. Love the name. That was actually one of the final choices for my son. So love your name, Ivan. I submitted an offer on a property, but the seller agent hasn't replied in 3 days. The seller agent. Okay. Tried calling the brokerage. He is the boss. Tried calling the seller. Didn't pick up. This ever happened to you? Yes. Yes. So the problem that you have is all of your remedies for this situation mean you don't get the house anyway. So by law, if you have presented an offer to a listing broker, by law, they have to present that offer to the seller by law. Some states have it around, there's a period of time around it, how fast it has to be done and all that stuff. The problem is you have two options. One is, hey guys, and sending an email, CCing everybody that you know that's involved with the deal in at the office. Guys, I've sent over an offer 3 days ago. I've not heard anything back. I need to understand if this property is even still available. Otherwise, I just need to move on. Please let me know either way. Thanks so much. Look forward to hearing back from you soon. That's option one. Option two is you send a threatening email. The threatening email is, hey guys, I know that there's a law, cite the law in your state. I know there's a law that says anytime that an offer is presented that there's this much time for it to be sent to the seller. I would like to understand what the reaction was to my offer. If there's still no feedback or still no reaction, I feel no other choice other than to report you to the state board. Right? So how far do you want to take it? If you threaten to do that, do you think you're going to get the deal? He's just going to be like, oh yeah, I showed it to him, didn't want it. Well, then why didn't you get back to me? Right? See what I'm saying? But the problem is you go that way, that's scorched earth. You're never going to work with that broker again. You're never going to work with that seller again. And even if you prove the guy, even if you produce all the documentation, send it all to the state and all that stuff happens, you know what the guy's going to get if it's his first offense? $250 fine. That's it. And it's going to take you thousands of dollars worth of hours to go through that process. So we've had that happen. And that's why I know what the process is. And we just have that agent earmarked in our book as somebody that we don't do business with. So if we find out that, a big broker has a listing and that they then cite that person as on their team, we won't do a deal with them because we don't trust them. Yep. That's what I would do. So what are good inspectors? I told you what good inspectors are, but that was like 20 minutes ago. So I'm pretty sure you get under below. Replace the stair tread indoor as leading bullnose edge broke. Any tips? Replace the stair tread indoors as leading bullnose edge broke. Any tips? Yeah, so if it's a hard wood to match, if it's a harder wood to match, I would take the existing one off, and then I would basically make another piece behind it. That way you still have a majority of a stair that matches everything. If it's not a hardwood to replace, I would just get a new, you can get a new stair tread and then just whatever the profile is on it, just bring them what the piece that broke off. And then you can usually have a wood shop create a profile for that. That's what I would do. Angel R, I have a 12-year-old electric water heater tank that has a heat pump feature Do you think I should swap it out ASAP or wait it out? I don't love those systems, but I'm not big. I mean, unless it's, going and it's costing you a fortune to run it, I'm not interested in just quick swapping that stuff out. What I would do is if it's got a heat pump on it, it's likely a higher end unit. So what I would probably do is I'd probably have a plumber come out. I would have them look at a few things, like whoever's coming out to do your burner service, clean out your heating system, whoever's coming out to do that stuff. That's who I would look at. That's what I would look at. That's what I would have done. Because I think that puts you in the best position. I think that puts you in the best position to not retire a system earlier if it's not running up costs on you. I wouldn't worry about retiring it. Jason Calasabetta. Perfect. Thank you. Tomorrow is just looking at them. We'll take lots of pictures and see if it's a good overall property. Yes, I talked to a girl who questioned me about it. Excellent. That's good. That's fantastic. Well done. Look up Matt cracking me up, talking like RE. All night harder. Chris, was it a brake that can be glued? Sure. Yep. Not a good fix, but if it fails and you're back at square one with with little expense, then it may be worth a try. That's true. I mean, you could. So if that is what the problem is, what you can actually do is you get a bunch of wood glue. You pop the tread. And I think Chris, from what I remember, you're actually kind of a craftsman. Like you can do some of that woodwork stuff. Yeah. I mean, the easy fix is you leave it in place and you use a bunch of wood glue, and you can use like a cabinet screw that's like 3 inches long. You can use a cabinet screw with a super tiny head and then just sink it through. It really kind of also matters what it's made of. Luke Devine, go Eagles. Go Eagles. We have no one to cheer for anymore. It's horrible. It's really bad. All-nighter hider. Although wood glue can be stronger than original wood, yep, still would recommend replacement if it's a high traffic area. Yeah, stairs. Circumstantial though. True story. Steven, hey everyone. Hey Steven, good to see you. Luke, good evening. Yes, sir. Yeah, Hider, good evening. Big Hill. Hey, Big Hill. How's it going? What's up, Luke? Hider. Luke says, do you tend to have a certain amount of money you set aside per unit for a property you bought if it's in touch-up conditions? No. And the reason why is because that's where I push and push and push in my course. Not push selling my course because I don't, but that's where I push in the course. When you're in there, really pay attention to those sections of the course, because you need to be able to walk through a property and understand, okay, it's going to cost this much to do this and this much to do this. And you get that over time, but you get that by talking to the tradesmen, asking them questions, going through the process. Okay. And they say, yeah, well, if it's this, it's probably going to be about this. Great. Why is it going to be that? And that's the type of thing, if that makes sense. So there's not like a hard set number, because we have the big slush fund that we have, did we hit that slush fund recently? I think we did. What did we hit it with? What did we hit it with? I think it was February of last year, February or March of February or March of this year. We had a heat system go that we weren't expecting to go. Hit it right from the slush fund right away, get it fixed. And then we just return the money back to the slush fund, because we have that overall maintenance account. Once you get to a certain number of units, you don't need more than, $50,000 sitting there, because that can handle the roof, that can handle a heating system. It might be an issue if you get a storm, and you rip off 10 or 15 roofs. But yeah, at that point I could literally just call up my guy and just go, hey, good news. You got 10 roofs to do. He'd probably be pretty happy. That's my guess. All of those short classes, the building association offer, some with hiring, multi-generational or aging in place build, it's a certificate. Yeah. And I don't like certificates. I don't. In a lot of cases, real estate agent certificate. I like licenses. Plumber's license, right? Electrician's license. Fire engineer. Those are the things that I like. Those are the things that I like to see. Always have to make sure that there's not an emergency. Yeah, Luke, did you buy the house? Haven't seen your multifamily strategy in a bit. Hey, Steven. Fair and only. So the fact that a zoning ordinance has zero compliance in a neighborhood, that is ammo to use against the planning board for adding a unit, right? Not ammo's not the right word. Ammo's not the right word. What we want to do is so what you can do, and this is where we talked about looking at the lot sizes, is that if no one else complies with that, then that is something I would mention and say, my understanding and belief based on my review of this is that even though that is the zoning for new builds, I would believe I would be grandfathered in as all of the other houses in my neighborhood don't meet this criteria either. And they have more parking or more of whatever's needed to get that extra unit, that they have higher density than I have. And so that's why I'm making the request. We want to deliver more affordable housing to the market. The least expensive housing to bring to the market is expansion of an existing asset, an expansion of an existing house or building. If we can get more use out of an existing building, that is what makes that unit more affordable, is because I can get lower rents across the board by doing this. And that means that I have more affordable units being put into the market, as opposed to I have to get market top dollar because I have fewer units. So that's absolutely a conversation I've had for sure. Robert, accountability used diplomatically is the golden ticket. Yes, correct. Yes, like I just displayed. Finally, Steven finally moved to Pittsburgh. It's cold. First thing I did was paint with Stone Harbor Gray. Good for you, Steven. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's great. Yep, we were painting Stone Harbor Gray today. It was just warm enough for us to be painting the outside of the project house. Guys, the project house, I'm telling you, I think I might do the video tomorrow. Am I doing the video tomorrow? I might be doing it Saturday. The project house, you guys won't even recognize it. It's been a crazy, like I told you before, 2 weeks. We're going absolutely crazy on it. And the 2 weeks have been extremely productive. Only because I see how much money I spent. And I see how much progress we made, of course. All Nighter Hider, good use of the word honor. Thank you, sir. HOA Prez. I as a failed liberal art graduate with no trade experience, but now certified building inspector. So it matters what it matters what you can put into it. But yeah, largely speaking, every single time, I don't care how many books you've read, I don't care how much stuff you've done, inspecting you've done. I want guys that have actually done the work. Because when you see something non-standard, when you've done the work, you know that sometimes you have to do non-standard things to accomplish the task. And so the guys that are doing, and listen, guys, this is a really important point. When you find people that are in that trade, they have had to do things because the code thing couldn't be accomplished. So when they see something, they're not like, well, that's out of code. Well, that's not grounded. Well, that's not bonded to the water pipe. What are you, a moron? There were 3 pictures of it. It took my electrician an 8-minute stop. 8 minutes. He was there. Picture, note taking, send. Took him 8 minutes to completely blow away this guy's 3-hour report. So yeah, again, I want guys that are doing the work. I want guys that are actually doing the work. I want guys that actually have experience, because I don't care what cert you have. You're not as good as a guy who does the work. You just aren't. And you don't know as much. I went through the class to be an inspector from world's leading association for inspectors 7 years ago. It was about a 120-hour class. And I agree, the class did push a lot of contact and expert line. Tim K, thank you very much for your honesty. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And like I said, the issue that I have is the guys that lean on that, and that's it. The guys that lean on that, right? If you're leaning on that on almost every single one, there's also programs out there that say, out of date, up to date, upgraded, new. There's another one that does replace. The guy literally did a report on a building. This was when I was buying. And this was earlier in my journey. This is when I was buying, and he went through the entire thing. He said everything needed to be replaced. Like literally the house was going to fall down. Well, I fixed all the things in that building. I knew what I was getting into. I bought that building for $150,000. I put $35,000 into that building. So I was into it for 185, maybe 190. I think I want 155, 90. 190 I'm into that building for. Thankfully, that building didn't collapse. Oh, it would have collapsed. It didn't collapse. It's now just appraised at $529,000. More importantly, it generates over $5,000 a month of rental income. Yeah. Unimpressed with you, Inspector Boy. You failed. Because you know what it ended up costing me? It almost cost me the deal. I had to convince the bank to let me hire a different inspector because he came recommended from an agent. I got another inspector. He comes in and he goes, yeah, I mean, there's definitely work that needs to be done. That's how I met that inspector that had the construction experience. Because I learned, I said, I need a guy that's got construction experience, and that's what I got to find. And that's what I got. And that guy was awesome. And he was a phenomenal, phenomenal inspector. Loved working with him. He was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it took, 10, 15 years I worked with him. I bought a lot of stuff with his inspection reports. All-nighter hider. True, but I just heard bad things about this multiplicity, multifamily. But then again, the person got caught by the inspector replacing entire decks without a permit. I'm telling you guys, this is where I tell you honor, character, integrity. When you're doing stuff around your buildings, don't ask for forgiveness, ask for permission. You get caught one time and they're going to doubt you forever. I'm already getting doubted by the inspector on a project that I'm doing right now. He's like, there's no way that was the cost of it. I was like, I'm just going by what they quoted me. He's like, there's no way that's the price. I'm pulling the permit based on what they quoted me. They said it would be 2 days worth of labor, which is $1,600. They said it would be $800 worth of materials. Now, they've had some delays, so it's not going to be $1,600. It's going to be closer to like $2,000. And because of those delays, they need to get more materials. And so instead of $800, it's going to be $1,200 for materials. Okay, so now it went up. However, I've got the quote that originally said what they said. They said, yeah, 2 days, we're going to be done. And we're going to need this for materials, we believe. And then they're like, oh, we actually need more of this stuff. Guys, you're not going to believe the project I'm going to show you guys in boot camp on Saturday. Not going to believe it. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely awesome. Luke Devine, have you found a way to get a free lease which I can add on to in PA? That's not for me to do, dude. That's for you to do. Or are you talking to, hopefully you're talking to Steven. But guys, real estate investment groups. If you're in Pennsylvania, Luke Devine and Steven, if you guys are in Pennsylvania, let me know. There's BuzzTunes in this. He's a Pennsylvania guy. He invests in Pittsburgh. I got Sophie, who invests in Pennsylvania. Kevin, who invests in Pennsylvania. Jared, who invests in Pennsylvania. If you're looking for a Pennsylvania lease, yeah. These guys are good guys. They'll hook you up. Let's see. 10-3 Commanders right now at the lane. Nice. Inflation Proof 28. Hey, welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming. Would you ever consider being an investor in a bank, initial startup, if given the opportunity? I've had the opportunity. I turned it down. It's I would certainly listen, but I would ask a billion questions. So if asking a billion questions is something that scares you off, I'm not the guy. I ask a billion questions because I want to know, I want to understand how it works. I want to understand how we're safeguarded. I want to understand why something wins, why something fails. Largely speaking, banks, it's really about driving depositors, giving them good products to choose from, and then then lending that money back out into the community. So having a great loan officer, having a great, senior lender, those are the most important things in that business because they're the ones that are putting the product back out on the street, the money back on the street to get a return back. Let's see. Channel 16, last house I just sold last house I just sold, the buyer asked for a new furnace heat pump, $5,300. The furnace worked fine, was a VA loan, so I honored it, closed the deal, just took a hit. You always have the right to do that. So to give you an idea, this is a building that's on for $400,000. I allowed for a discount of $10,000, so we went down to $390. So we're at $390,000, and then they just asked for another 20 more. Not happening. Nope, not happening. Hyder, I pushed the course. Thanks, Hyder. I appreciate it. Luke Devine, thanks, Matt. You're very welcome. Thanks, Ryan, for adding the link. You caught me slipping. Ryan's on it. Wolf Building Journey, it's okay. And it hurts. And it hurts in the tent right now. Oh, Hertz is in the tent right now. No, that's not good. Teamwork. Luke Devine, Hertz got cleared and had a good 8-yard run. Oh, good. He's back in the game. I still love your idea. If I can add a unit or tell the board you are going to have a big bedroom unit with kids that cost $60,000 per kid for education. So that's still one of my favorites. For those of you who don't know what that move is, basically when I go in front of city boards, I just want to know my numbers. So if I know that the cost per kid to go to the school is about 10, 12, 14,000 bucks, look at what the education portion of your bill is. If you look at what that bill is, that's basically the cost that you're paying, but there will be a cost associated of this is what it costs per student to educate. So if I go from a 2-bedroom unit to a 4-bedroom unit, what is a 4-bedroom unit full of? Kids. It's not full of a bunch of roommates in most cases. It's full of kids. That means that kid number 1, $10,000, kid number 2, $10,000, kid number 3, $10,000. None of those properties are going to carry a $30,000 tax bill. They might carry a $10,000 tax bill. That means that that building, if that's just one unit, that is negative $20,000 a year in the income that it generates for the city, negative $20,000. I just want to make sure that they've heard my plea. Listen, if that's what you want me to do, that's what I'll do. I actually have a hearing coming up to discuss that. Or a meeting coming up to discuss that. It's going to be a variance meeting. I think it's next week, actually. Is it next week? Yeah, I think it's next week. Ooh, might even be on Thursday night. Might be. But that's one of the things that I'm covering. The purpose of doing that is to make sure that the town knows, guys, I care about the town. I'm willing to spend $25,000 on a sprinkler system. I'm willing to spend $10,000 on repaving the driveway if you just give me a 5th unit. If you don't, I'm just telling you, you're forcing my hand to have my only other option be 4 bedrooms on each side. That's going to be a massive expense to the city. So if I go, and the reason that one unit is a 2-bedroom unit, but becomes 4 bedrooms extra is because now you don't need a kitchen. Now you don't need a living room. Now they're just bedrooms. So it turns it into 2 4s and 2 2s as opposed to 5 2s. You know, for me, I want to do the right thing by my cities, by my towns. Will I make more money with 2 4s than I will with 3 2s? Yeah, probably. It's certainly going to cost me a lot more money to make it 5 2s than it is to make it 2 4s and 2 2s. But I want to do the intellectually honest thing, have integrity, carry it before them and let them decide. And then when they decide it, and that's the path that we go, if it ends up being a problem for them, because now we have 2 with 3 kids each, and now that building is $60,000 a year in the hole against taxes. What would you like me to do? I gave you every chance I possibly could. That's the way I see it. I want to do the right thing. You know, and it's okay that doing the right thing also benefits me. It also benefits the town. It's a win-win for everybody. Luke Devine, Stephen, based on my experience, it's hard to get a single-family property in a nice area. I did have some success outside of Pittsburgh, but did not make sense. Now my father and I will go 50-50 on our property. On properties, $350K. Love that. To me, that's good seller financing. In my eyes, only having to put 10% down. Love that as well. I have my best friend as a partner. Can't go better. That's awesome. Congratulations. Good job, Dad, too, getting involved. That's key. Luke, I hope your dad's on here watching with you. He's got to have the knowledge too, my man. Don't know what his knowledge base is, but that's important. Yeah, that's right. Jack Stewart's also in Pennsylvania. I forgot. Yeah, he's in Pittsburgh too. That's right. Good call, Hyder. Yeah, Jack Stewart, guys. You'll see Jack Stewart in here. This is networking right here, guys. This is networking time. Yep. What's up? What's up, Marcus Shiro? Good to see you, pal. Financial fighter. Chris Culp, I'm in Philly. Oh, that's right. You're in Lancaster. Chris Culp, he is in the boot camp. He also has a lease. Guys, there's tons of Pennsylvania investors in here. Chris, how is Lancaster? I saw the high school for the city has a 1 out of 10 rating. Yeah. A lot of that stuff's politically driven. True story. Or how they score on tests, and it's because, yeah, there's a bunch of reasons you can see that. Let's see. Jay Calva. Oh, no. I love the area. Luke Devine says, I love the area, though, since it was previously the capital of the U.S. Very cool. Jay Calva, I see your point, and you're right. Most inspectors shouldn't be inspectors, but if I put myself in the buyer's shoes, I would love an inspector that get me a chunk, that will get me a chunk of credit. Yeah, so here's what's going to happen. They're going to lose the house. That's what's going to happen. Because you'll run into people that know a lot more about the house than they do. I know more about my house than the inspector does. They're going to lose the house. They're not going to get the house with a $20,000 discount. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So if you want to go down the path, falling in love with a house, going down through the process, they will have spent probably $3,000, about $3,000 between inspections and paying people to show up and give proposals because they had such a small window to do it in. They're going to spend $2,000 or $3,000. How many times can you do that and blow through your seed money to buy something just because the guy's trying to get you a chunk off the deal? Have integrity, have honor, get a reduction in price, but based on facts and based on honesty. I would have had, if the heating system were bad, okay. Hey, sure, we missed it. You're right. We missed it. Heating system's bad. We'll give you credit. We'll give you a credit for towards part of it. We've done that. We've bought a house. We bought a house where literally the day we closed, the heating system was stolen. Can't even begin to tell you how devastating that was. Because I had to come up with $12,000 that wasn't in the budget to replace the heating system. What a bunch of bullshit. That was hard. Yep. And then Calva says, but if I'm selling, I would hate it, no doubt. See, but the thing is, though, is that I'm such an honest broker when I'm doing a deal. I would take the deal that I would offer. Otherwise, I wouldn't offer it. And if they don't see the value in that deal, then that's okay. We had a deal that just blew up yesterday or this morning. I can't remember which. But we had a deal that just blew up. And the reason that deal blew up, the whole reason that deal blew up was because they didn't want to do seller financing. And they said, we'll come down to your price, but you need to go finance it. And I just said, sorry, I can't take the deal. They're like, and then they started to browbeat me. Guys, it's math. If I take that deal with bank financing, I lose $1,500 a month. It's that bad of a deal. The reason I offered you to take the carry was because you still get a big fat check every single month. But then at least at that point, I make about $1,000, maybe $1,000 after expenses on the building a month. Now, it would have given me time to get in there. I knew it was a longer term project, so it would have been like 12 to 24 months to actually get the rents up and make a massive delayed maintenance. Like they need 3 heating systems. They need 3 electrical panels. I found out through the grapevine, because I know a lot more people than they do, that they sent something to their broker basically telling me to pound sand. Okay. Go to market. Enjoy. If I can't get a deal done, no one else is going to be able to get a deal done either. Unless somebody's putting 30% down on that property, which is over $1 million, they're not going to get a deal either. So guys, this is pretty easy. Pretty easy. Angel Art, my fear with expired water heaters is them flooding the basement. Yeah, sure. But the thing is if there's no corrosion on the bottom of the tank, number one. Number two is you could put it in a pan with an alarm on it. That's number 2. Number 3 is if you actually, like I said, if you have it inspected by a plumber where you pay him $125 to go out there and take a look at the thing, and he goes, yeah, you're starting to push it. Well, then that was 125 or 150 bucks really well spent. And you get just say, sounds great. Let's swap the thing out. If he goes out there and goes, the bottom's fine. There's no pinholes. I knocked it around. I don't see any rusting. I don't see any significant corrosion. I looked inside the tank. I was able to take a couple of the rods out and swap the rods out. That's where it comes into play. That's where it comes into play. Jennifer Stewart, doing the right thing by the town gets noticed. Absolutely it does. Doing the right thing always eventually gets noticed by everybody. I work a ton with the towns that I work with. And I'm, you know what? It's Dion and I fight about this stuff all the time because he's like, well, yeah, but it's too much work for me. It's just not. It's just not. I made $173,000 this week in 5 hours worth of work. It's too much work. It's not. It's not. It's not. A lot of the work had to be done already. So anyway, that's a realistic fear, Angel. Yep, they tend to go one out just after warranty expires. It's very true. The key is that it might be a 10-year or 12-year warranty, number one, because usually those higher end systems are better. Number two is if it's in a dry basement, then they do last a whole lot longer. The ones you have to worry about are the wet basements, the damp basements, the ones that get exposed to elements a lot because they're not insulated from the outside. They have a dirt floor. Those are the places that they fail the most. Sitting on concrete, those are the places that they fail the most. They do. And that's something you do want to get ahead of, but that's what I would take a look at. Inflation Proof 28. I love your answer and how transparent you are. I personally have no fear of questions. We would have to schedule a call. Where an attorney is present, make sure there's 100% transparency. Yeah, sure. Reach out to me, lumberjacklandlord@gmail.com. Reach out. Happy to have a conversation with you. I have to meet up with Jack Stewart since we share the same name. I know we'd become friends quickly. Jack is an awesome dude. He's an awesome dude. If you like sports and you like pumpkin pie, that's kind of one of our requirements to be in our little club because we both love pumpkin pie. Passionate about pumpkin. But yeah, Jack's a great guy. Yep, great guy. Yep, yeah, he's in the school community. Yep, I'll share a link for him for a minute. Very cool. Mick, do you install a floor drain for upstairs washer? If so, what type to avoid the P-trap evaporating? Good question. We don't install floor drains. We don't. If we have a washer upstairs, we actually just put it in a pan with an alarm on it. If we have a washer upstairs, we put it in a pan with an alarm on it. We don't do floor drains. Hey, Kyle Dorn. Howdy. How are you, sir? Let's see. Channel 1680. The county I'm in, Washington State, does not charge for school tax and development fees. Not school tax and development fees, but school tax in your actual tax bill. Where I lived in San Diego was about $25K just for development fees. That is why I moved. Well, one of the reasons. Yes. So it's all tax, right? So I don't care what you call it, but it's all tax. But I can tell you in New Hampshire's tax bills, I think Massachusetts as well, I believe Maine as well, it shows here is the tax to your state. Here is the tax to your town that basically taxes. It basically pays for all the different services, but then there's also a section of that's schooling, and schooling is always the largest. So for us, we see the actual school piece. We see how expensive that is. I can tell you that I have one of the world's most expensive library cards. I spend over $300,000 a year in property taxes. 300,000. Yeah. Yes. Angel R, if you bring your own guys to inspect the unit instead, can you back out of the deal, or does a seller need some sort of certified inspector? There are no certified inspectors. That's the issue. That's the problem that I have. Certified jackasses. So what you can do is you can absolutely still take the inspection report you know. And what I would do is when I'm putting the deal together, I would let them know, you know, we have a, just get a form online, which basically shows, you know, for each one and put it together. That's probably something I should put together for my course. But I would just ask them to give me a page of notes, make a bunch of notes, take some pictures, and then send it to me in an email. That's what I would do. Wealth Rentals. I'm here late, but still want to say hi. That's okay, Wealth Rentals. Nickel was holding up $1. Jennifer Stewart, I got to run and get that shower. Congratulations on that. The world will thank me in the morning. Great to hear you for 90 minutes. Enjoy learning from you. Jennifer, always a pleasure. Rock star. We'll have Jennifer on here someday. We absolutely will when she can make the time. She is one of those rare breed of entrepreneur that really, really, really gets it and really likes helping people and bridge the gap and has been very successful in doing so. So we'll definitely get her on here. Angel R, that's right. You're in Pennsylvania too. Dear God, look at all these Pennsylvanians. Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, Angel R, to answer your question completely, I've never had an issue with it. Never had an issue with it. I don't need some inspection report saying, here's the inspection report for blah, blah. Nope. I just need each individual's inspection report and then what recommendations they make because they're the expert. You know? And if somebody said, I mean, again, the idea is that you have time to do due diligence. Even if it were just you walking it, you have time to do that due diligence. So long as you get the response back to them saying, hey, I'm out, they're done. Shanice is saying to you, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. You're very welcome. It's always my pleasure, Channel 6. Always my pleasure. Inflation Proof 28. I played football in high school and I love archery. I also love pumpkin pie. I mean, win. I got a few pumpkin pies from the store, Sprouts, and it was glorious. Don't even know the store, but we have farms around here. We have pumpkin farms around here. So we get like fresh pumpkin pie. It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, awesome. Guys, we are just after the 10:30 time. I appreciate y'all. I hope this was helpful to you. You know me, I'm a business guy who does YouTube. I'm not a YouTuber. So I just share it with you exactly the way it is. I share with you, again, just being honest and brutal with you. I was pissed. I'm still pissed about the whole situation because I think that he didn't do the person's service. Oh, see that? Kadia's in Pittsburgh too. Dear God, is this a Pittsburgh show? Is this a Pennsylvania show? The WSA is super helpful. Thank you. Awesome. And it's Steelers. Oh, dear God. Steelers. Hunting, fishing, outdoors in general. Very cool. So, yeah, hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I try and create great content for you, but it's basically just based on my experiences. Watch for it. I'm going to actually schedule the call for the house so you guys will see it. You'll get the alert. Make sure you set the alerts. Guys, go to the channel, please. Set the alert. Please set the alert. There's stuff coming up in the next few weeks. I want to see high attendance because it's big. It's big. There's a lot coming. The project house is humming along. I did another project with another dormer. This one was double the dormer than the other one was. It's huge. It's glorious. I've got a new deal that's going to be closing. I think it closes next week. Does it close next week? No, it closes the following week. I'll walk you through it. I'll walk you through my 1031 exchange. And I have another deal that blew up. Oh, and I'm going to have the variance meetings. There's a lot. You're the lone Ravens fan? Yeah, that's okay. It's all right. I'd rather be a Ravens fan right now than a Steelers fan. I think the Ravens are legit. More than the Steelers. But it should be fun to watch. Guys, have a fantastic week. I appreciate y'all guys as always. Oh, hey, Lin Tang. Good to see you. It's always helpful. Good night, Matt and everyone. You as well, Lynn. Appreciate that. Who just yawned after Matt? Exactly. Somebody had to. I bet it was Hyder, and he's just covering it up. So I couldn't yawn. Anyway, guys, have a fantastic rest of your week. Check out the schedule on next few days. Oh, yeah, Jets fan. That's rough. But have a fantastic week. I will see you guys again. All the best. Thanks again. Take care. See you guys.